Greetings and welcome to Maisha Kazini. We are back again with Mordecai Ogada discussing the events that have been happening lately. So, Karibu.
Asante sana.
Yeah, as usual.
Times in Kenya.
Strange times. So
Yeah.
we haven't talked since the time of the Olympics. So I want us to go back and look at it in hindsight. The people started noticing something was wrong. So I don't know, did you feel, after that we got is it 3 or 4 gold medals? We got 4 gold medals. So I think we kind of forgot. But do you think that surely the Olympics showed us that something is wrong?
Yes, I'd say it showed us something's wrong. And first of all, credit to our athletes, the ones who won.
Yes.
Save us our blushes. But I'll have to add that their individual stellar performance and efforts, they keep covering our systemic problems.
Yes.
It's sad that their excellence covers a lot of nonsense that happens in Kenya.
Or rather, the government uses it to hide, skeletons.
Yes, and the average Kenyans who struggle to see anything philosophically, they look at the material part. What did we get? We got 4 golds. We got maybe a couple of silvers and a couple of bronzes, and we are top in Africa. So say, great, we are wonderful. Wonderful. And if you ask them, they tell you, look at a country like, I think Nigeria this time didn't win any single medal, and say, look at these countries, they didn't win anything. We are better than them. And no, but that covers the philosophical problems, that there's a serious problem there's a systemic problem, not only with the sports sector, with the other sectors as well, but the Olympics exposed the sports sector problem. And if I to take a snapshot of it, the men's 1500 meters.
It was painful.
I remarked that I've never seen, those photos at the finish, the press photos. I've never seen a photo of a men's Olympic final in middle distance that doesn't have a Kenyan even in the frame of the photo. I'm not talking about medal brackets, but in the top six or 7 athletes in that photo, there was no Kenyan. They were way back, maybe even round the corner, so the 200-meter corner.
How did you reach there, Gray?
And that's a problem. And why I say it's systemic is because the depth of talent we have in Kenya over those distances is endless. For lack of a better term, it's endless. It's only the system that can create such an embarrassing scenario. And I think it might be through the treatment of those athletes. It might be through the difficulties that they have to surmount to get selected for that team. And it's a whole bunch of different things, but there's a systemic problem. And anyone who denies it is either just in denial or straight up lying.
There was one question that came up when the police were now celebrating Beatrice, who won the 2 gold medals. What is this about our athletes and the police? Why are they being sucked into the police?
I mean, the system seems to have a funnel that it is so hard on you that at the stage of being, when you're still nobody, you enter the police for protection from the bullying, etc.
Yeah.
And it's a sad fact of life that sometimes a prison or a cage is the safest place if you are in a dangerous place. The safety inside the cage. Even when I was doing my field work for my master's, we'd trap animals, dangerous predators, in cages, and when we tranquilize it, we'll be told, the experienced people will tell me that if by any chance this lion wakes up suddenly, the safest place, don't run into the bush, run into that cage and lock yourself. It won't get you in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is with our police, it becomes a cage later in life, because these people are members of the disciplined force. This athlete, they have to ask for permission every single time they go to participate in a race out there. They go and come back and report to their commanding officer. Like you saw Beatrice Chepkoech, I saw in a media report, she was being awarded for her stellar performance by being given a promotion from constable to corporal for being a world beater at 5,000 and 10,000 meters. If you compare with what was going on, I don't know if you saw maybe what Letsile Tebogo is a reception in Botswana. The president declared a holiday.
Yes.
The stadium was full. I mean, Botswana's population is so low that if that stadium is full like that, I think everyone in Gaborone was in there. But here, our best performer, I mean, she's our best performer, 2 gold medals. She was best. Second, next best was Faith Kipyegon with 1 gold, 1 silver. But Beatrice Chepkoech was top, 2 gold medals. Promotion to corporal. I'm sorry, but I don't think that's even a fraction of what she deserves. For what she did. I'm not impressed.
I mean, we should have a title for sports people, like sort of at the rank of MP, whom we recognize anywhere they go, we know them.
Yes.
And we treat them like that.
Yes. And we even tell even something like KRA should declare sports people, those ones winning out there, 0 tax on their earnings. 0. After all, these people come back here and invest this money here. You see them buying land and all these kind of things. They come back and invest this money. Say you win a gold medal, we are giving you for the next 20 years, your tax level is 0. Something like that. Even these state honors.
Like Mheshimiwa status.
Where Mheshimiwa?
You're one of the people who are in the front at national events.
Yes. Yes, dignitaries. Even when we're having news reports about this Faith Kipyegon and Manuel Wanyonyi, we should even be saying Mheshimiwa Faith Kipyegon.
By the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are calling some indolent idiots in county assemblies and the National Assembly. We call them Mheshimiwa. People least deserving of that accolade.
Yeah, we need an accolade for sports people, separate from HSC and all that nonsense. But so that when they excel, we call them back and we know. We know these people excelled.
Yes.
Corporal.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a level of mediocrity in government that I don't get.
I mean, our systems are not created to acknowledge and cultivate excellence.
Yes.
Any Kenyan who excels in spite of our systems. And our systems never fail to remind them of that. Okay, great, you've conquered the world, 10,000 meters gold medal, 5,000 meters gold medal. You come back and you'll come back and salute to someone who's a sergeant because you are just a constable. We need to show you that you are a gold medal winner, but you are now just a corporal. No, it's not acceptable actually. I don't accept. Personally, I don't accept it. I don't think that's right. And the reason why our armed forces or disciplined forces keep taking in so many of these is that there is no system, there is no civilian sports development system currently existing. We don't.
So these people who win sort of win despite.
Yeah. Now those outside the state systems, who excel and get up there, it is just by chance.
The system didn't see them before it was too late.
They slipped through. Yeah. They slipped through. Wanyonyi.
Yes.
Kiptum the late. They slipped through. They slipped through, and you can see the difficulties they go through. I mean, have you seen some reports about the sort of humble home Wanyonyi comes from? And even I heard reporters during the Olympics alluding to it, that he's got, I don't know, 8 siblings and he's trying to put them to school, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Poor background and all that. And okay, now he's reached up there, and he'll get money to sort those things out. But the one we actually saw before all of us was the late Kiptum. When he died, in their home, there was nothing. The government scrambled to build a house so that we can have something for Sebastian Coe and the other international dignitaries to see when they come for his funeral. He was a world record holder.
But he never represented Kenya.
By the time he died, he had never worn that red kit.
How?
There's a problem.
Gosh.
And if anyone who says there's no problem, you're just lying to yourself or to others.
How?
Even one of those smartwatch companies had even made a model called the Kiptum model. And they committed that the royalties from that naming would still continue going to his wife and kids. But we in Kenya, he had never represented us. Maybe this Paris Olympics would have been his first time.
Because even when he died, one of the things I was saying is, a guy of that stature should have had a driver and a vehicle.
Yeah.
To be taking him around.
He did not even have a Kenyan coach. Forget driver and vehicle.
Oh. This is madness.
His coach was buried he was from Burundi. I think he was from Burundi.
Burundi or Rwanda, one of them.
Yeah. He didn't even have a Kenyan coach. All the athletics coaches we have in Kenya, real and fake, none of them had done anything to assist or attempted to assist Kiptum the late.
They would have asked for a bribe first, or they would...
Who is he? As you can see, he was the child of a nobody. He wasn't in the police. Now, if he joined the police, he may have gone to his senior officer and told, now, help me get this. But he was the son of a nobody, and he was a civilian.
Wow.
And these athletes are not safe. Let's talk even mention of the young ladies who have been killed in their homes by these shady boyfriends and all these kind of things. Not that the government needs to get into something, but the reason they were in those situations where they got killed is because they don't have some safe structure somewhere out here.
And then if they don't know the system, because many of them are poor, so they don't have access to information, they're just exploited.
You're exploited. In Kenya, any poor person is a fodder for the system.
I heard
the system lives on the blood and flesh of poor people.
It eats people.
It eats people.
My heart is just refusing. Yeah.
And that's how you realize how lucky it is, or fortunate, that some escape that, squeeze out and reach that sort of untouchable level. Someone like Faith Kipyegon right now is untouchable. You have to do right by her, whether in management or coaching or everything. But we don't have a logical system by which a gifted athlete can reach that level. If there's luck, someone coached you somewhere, someone did you a favor somewhere, you are in the right place at the right time, someplace. And I'm sure any of these athletes can tell you, when we were kids, there were 2-3 kids who could outrun me by far, and they got nowhere.
So even this Winifred Yavi, I guess there was no other way to run.
Yeah, and that's what I said. The failures of our system have been inadvertently exposed even by government people. And that's what I said, that if our government official policy is telling young people to go look for jobs abroad, surely it will not only be house helps. There'll be athletes will go abroad as well, and engineers, and doctors, and scientists, and academics. So her going to Bahrain is in line with government policy. We are telling our young people to go look for jobs abroad. There she did, and she went and she has excelled. And if you think of someone like her, she's young, she's the child of nobody, she's talented. How does she get a look in? And I'm telling you, there is no shortcut. There's no shortcuts to these things. That there's no Kenyan who has ever sought these opportunities abroad before trying to find these opportunities here. You know how hard it is to get a passport, all those things. Surely they tell you, Ebu first to go for local trials, Jaribu Apo. See, that one is just here. You won't leave your village or wherever it is you live to go abroad. Life abroad is not easy. Language barrier, visas, it's terrible. On your own. And I imagine myself at that, like that young lady, she's maybe 23, 24. At that age, if you told me just get on a plane and go abroad, like, hey, no, it's not easy. So it certainly wasn't the first choice. It certainly wasn't the first choice.
And in fact, actually, I saw an interview of Yavi where she was saying that she had to train Kichini. She didn't want people in the athletics circles to know she was training. So she trained, and then she got this opportunity and took it.
Yeah. As in, she had to escape. In summary, what you are saying is, she didn't just walk like this. She had to escape. She had to hide like she's doing something illegal. And yet she's trying to make a living for her or her family and all that.
And yet she's good at what she knows. She's
and
good.
She's good. She's good. And we've seen World Championship gold medal, Olympic gold medal. She's good. So we don't even have scouts even within Kenya who should even go to schools, games, and hey, that girl there is very good at this hurdling, the steeplechase. They call her here.
But now we have been told that has been solved with CBC pathways. Which reminds me, because those pathways are basically designed to say that if you do sports, you don't do anything else. You don't learn anything else.
Yeah. And the pathways, like sport is sport, and that's one thing our state systems have refused to acknowledge or see. Sport is not just a physical endeavor, it's an intellectual endeavor.
Yes.
And if you talk to someone like Eliud Kipchoge, you realize this is an intellectual endeavor. It's not just physical. And those who have just the physical attributes, they have brief, very brief and unsuccessful careers, and a lot of them fall by the wayside into all sorts of problems. Not just Kenyans, all over the world. You all know top boxers, runners who've fallen into drugs. You are hearing, like the other time I was reading in a paper that Ronaldinho, who was brilliant footballer, is arrested at a border somewhere, crossing with a fake passport and carrying I don't know what in his luggage. And I'm like, how did he get there? This guy was earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per week playing for Barcelona and AC Milan and all. And so sports is an intellectual activity.
Yeah.
Because if the average sporting career ends at about age 40.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you are lucky, and otherwise it ends even earlier. So this career ends when you have your whole life ahead of you.
Yes.
People say life begins at 40. In some way it does. Imagine your career has just ended and you had no intellectual standing on what you are doing until you are 40. You end up with
that's what the government wants.
Yes, that's what they want. That's what they want. Imagine all the sports people we've had for all these years. Imagine none of them are in the coaching staff. None of them are sort of sports writers. None are pundits. I mean, top sports writers in Kenya are not former sportsmen. People like Elias Makoria, maybe our best sports writer. I don't think he's had any sports career of his own. But where have all these people gone?
We don't have sports history books. I guess
we don't have sports history books. Yes. I just saw the other day during the Olympics, David Rudisha was donating his world record breaking running shoes to a museum in Paris. It was there on Twitter.
No.
It was there on Twitter. Why don't we even have
the sports?
Yes.
We don't have Hall of Fame.
Yes. Yes. Eliud Kipchoge's shoes, the one who broke the 159 thing. Why don't we have them on display somewhere? Why hasn't someone gone to Eliud and they donate these shoes to us, please? We want to have this, or maybe they are in Oregon.
We want people to feed elephants. What was that elephant thing that Balala was doing? We want them to name elephants.
To name elephants and hyenas.
And hyenas.
Stupid.
That level of stupidity.
The level of stupidity. How many record breakers have we had from Richard Chelimo, Moses Kiptanui, Daniel Komen? Where are their shoes? That vest he was wearing, where are they? The vest that
of them winning.
Hey, where are those things?
It should be a museum.
Yeah? Where are those things? That guy comes home, you tell him, hey, bring please your shoes. We need your shoes. We'll give you another pair, but this one is a special pair. We need to have it in the museum. How many record holders past do we have?
There are no statues. See,
nothing. Hey,
we saw Faith's statue.
Excuse me from the statues. Guy. I mean, there's this guy, there's this very gifted writer, Eric Ngeno. He wrote an article and he said that those statues were taken down, fine. But we need to look into the thought processes of the people involved, the thought processes that got those statues from inception to being mounted. What thought process was happening there?
It's not complicated. See, me, I'm in the arts, I know. People say, oh, a statue. See, this is just putting 2 and 2 together. Oh, a song. See, I sing in the shower. How hard can it be? See, dance. Even me, I'm at weddings. That's how Kenyans think about the arts.
Writing, it's ChatGPT, pap.
ChatGPT, pap, you're done. There's no skill.
AI can type into AI, give me an image of a lion walking down in the savannah. Pop.
There's a deep mediocrity in our system.
Wow.
Oh, deep. Oh, dear.
At the core. And you look at those. How did they get there? I mean, look at from the one who was given the contract. Did he give a diagram? The one who then inspected the work while it was being done, he said, "This looks okay." Yani they finished. The guy said, "Okay, we go and mount it there." They went and mounted it. No, and all this, no one said, "Hey, you guys, what's this?" Until members of the public said, "Hell no." Then you're running like thieves to pull them down in the middle of the night.
But,
and that's that's Eldoret. The stadium is a maize drying venue. I'm born and brought up in Kitale, so I've been traveling that route for decades. It's a maize drying area. We keep saying it's under construction, under construction. No, it's maize drying.
It's a, I don't know. I know this level of mediocrity when it comes to education, but when I see it in sports, my heart just.
I think
like, what is this?
I think the greatest irony is that what makes it so bad in sports is that the efforts of these sportsmen and women, they keep bringing back medals and they keep masking this mediocrity from our view. And it's because of the nature of athletics, sort of. You know, if you're a good runner, even if we don't give you shoes, you'll go barefoot and win. If you are a good runner, you'll outrun people even if you don't have shirt, you're running bare chest. You'll outrun them. That's the bottom line with running. But system for them to get into coaching, the one who has gone far in coaching is someone like Paul Ereng, but that's in the States.
I saw he's in the States at a university there.
Yeah. In the States, not here.
Because actually, all these athletes should be in universities and schools as coaches.
Yeah.
They should be in.
Yeah.
It should be the ones in charge of the ministry. Instead, we have some lawyer who wears a belt for 50K.
Yeah. And you see the head of the leadership of Kenya Amateur Athletics Association and all that. These are old dinosaurs from way back in the day. I mean, only recently we had a relatively sort of new entrant as Paul Tergat at the head of NOC.
Yeah.
But it's recent. But before him was Kiplagat, I think. And there was Kiplagat and there was Omombo and various other people. And since we've had this a veritable crowd of world-beating athletes, of which we cannot make any use whatsoever. Asbel Kipropa here is the OCS of Langata police station. Why isn't Ezekiel Kemboi coaching the 3,000 steeplechase runners?
By the way, yes.
Just Kemboi, you coach, select, nini, you bring us 3 world beaters. Next Olympics, we want 3 world beaters.
We want one the way we used to win.
Yes. Even they tell Eliud Kipchoge, we want you to give us 3 top marathoners by next Olympics of 2028. Chukua kazi ndio hiyo.
They can't let those athletes have influence on the people. You
No,
see,
no,
they need ordinary people to stay low in mediocrity, to
you
never
don't want
meet excellence. So
you don't want to
the
empower
politicians
even a
are
world-beating
always.
athlete.
Yeah?
Even a world-beating athlete should not be empowered and given power to grow others and mentor.
Yeah. What are we going to do? And then there was this debate about the, what is it called? The education. I think you even said it about
Mm.
they are not the Kenya doesn't want educated athletes.
Yeah, the path through educational institutions is pretty much blocked for sort of athletics prodigies in Kenya. And I noticed that if you go in the sprints, Southern African nations, Botswana, not just Letsile Tebogo, there were others as well.
Yeah.
And there was Simbine from South Africa and a number of South Africans. Actually, South Africa won the bronze in
the 100, I think.
4x100 meters.
4x100, yeah.
As in, they've got that much depth of sprinters. Those kids, as they were announcing the competitors, all of them, whatever university in the US, this university in the US, they were all US university students. So these are sports scholarships. And so many even of other countries, German athletes say, oh, he's running against his teammate at Texas University or whatever. And they're all taking advantage of that extremely well-resourced sports system. But here, you emerge quickly trying to channel you into the police.
Into police.
Yeah, we're trying to channel you into police where you can be controlled, etc., etc. And rather than and you do not have growth in the sport. Your growth is now determined by a commanding officer.
Yes.
Not by your performance.
God.
Your growth, your professional growth, whatever, is determined by something completely unrelated to your performance. Even that promotion to corporal, he doesn't have to give you. He could say no. And if you ask for permission, I mean, without someone, even civil servants, and especially someone in the disciplined forces, you're traveling out of the country, you show up at immigration at Jomo Kenyatta, you need a clearance letter.
Clearance.
So if he does not give it to you, you will not go.
For a race.
You will not go. And granted, I've not heard of any being refused, but if at all he refused, you do not go.
The point is the insecurity. It's not.
It's the power relation.
It's the power.
It's the power. It's the power relation. You're going to ask for a clearance letter. Where are you going? I'm going to Germany.
For what? For a race? See you to let
so it's Diamond League. What's the appearance fee? Or maybe he knows. Maybe he can access that information.
And if you win,
so if you come back, he knows you won $50,000. You know how Kenya is. You know how Kenya is. Let's not kid ourselves.
That's a spiritual problem. And in fact, I was telling my clergy friend, please imagine, don't tell us about corruption. Don't tell us about, this is what we want to hear you talk about.
Yeah.
Why is Kenya so anti-human and
so anti-excellence? Yeah. Kenya is the only country in the world where labor unions are used to suppress labor. In other parts of the world, labor unions are used to strengthen the labor force. In Kenya, labor unions suppress the labor. That's why when we had the Gen Z protests, the government couldn't stop whining. We want to know your leader. We want to know your leader. You want to know who you can use to suppress them. And to their credit, these kids said, hey, as we don't have a leader, we are leaderless. In Kenya, unions are used to suppress people.
In fact, someone said on Twitter that these strikes they call are for going to State House to ask for
when you have a head of a union, there is someone who can be called and either intimidated, bribed, or otherwise coerced to change the position. It's far much cheaper than raising the salaries of all the teachers.
Yeah.
Because you saw they gave a strike notice the day before. The NAT chairman said, we have withdrawn the strike notice. No salary has been given. None of the issue they were going to strike about was sorted out, but he withdrew the strike notice. Others get quickly absorbed into state jobs. Like especially those in the medical field, the medical union, keep getting absorbed into state jobs.
But why is the government so attractive and yet it's so mediocre? I mean, you know, I was telling someone in an interview, it's me, if I entered government, they would kill my mind. They wouldn't make me a better person. So what is this attraction?
The mediocrity is what's attractive because you earn well for no work.
But maybe also they appeal to a savior complex. People want to go and say all the things that I say are wrong with the system. Now I'm going to fix them because I'm in government.
I'm going to fix them.
That's not how it works. You would fix
and once they get in there, they come back out and tell you, you guys were saying there's problems with government. No, there's no problems. These guys are actually working hard. You saw when Oparanya was appointed to cabinet, he said, I was thinking that Kwanza is not working, but now that I've gone in there and seen, yeah, they're actually really working.
We were cast.
And if you listen to the other thing is that you listen to interviews, the sort of charade that they call interviews for top government officials, including cabinet ministers. People are worth billions. What do you want in government?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was one Cleopa Mailu was being interviewed. I'm not sure for which government position, cabinet position.
But health before he got to health.
Yeah, it may have been, but he was the CEO. Anyway, he was CEO of Nairobi Hospital.
Nairobi Hospital, it was health.
And he was earning like near 4 million a month there. So you wonder, why are you coming to government? It's obvious, like private sector, some of them earn a lot of money, but they make you work. You work. Here you might, and if you think about it, earning 4 million a month for hard work, it's actually better to earn 2.5 or 3 million for nothing. And there's the added thing of a flag, people saluting, you know.
You don't decide
those imperial symbols.
You're just going to.
Yes. Back
those
left.
Imperial symbols are very powerful, I think.
They're very powerful. Someone would rather earn 2.5 million and have a chauffeur-driven fueled car with a flag rather than earn 4 million and fuel his own car and have no flag.
That means that the social affirmation is very important, but Kenyans don't say that is theory. It's not putting food on the table. That kind of nonsense. The idea of, because even spiritual basis for anything is theoretical. Yes.
Theory is a spiritual variable in that if you know theoretically why you are doing what you are doing, that's the same as being spiritually content with what you are doing. But the moment you reject any theoretical basis, you've rejected spiritual basis as well.
That is true.
You cannot have any spiritual grounding in what you're doing if you don't have any theoretical grounding in what you're doing. And at the level of leadership, we cannot be even on leadership, the level where you and I are, we cannot and should not be thinking of what goes in my stomach. Even this conversation, I cannot have this conversation with you based on what will enter my stomach as a result of talking to Andia today.
But there are people who are so wealthy and they're still thinking like that.
And they're still living in the material realm. They're material realm, which should be childhood and shortly thereafter. That's why they can't become elders. They're in the material realm.
Yeah, speaking of elders, yes.
Yeah. Elder is a spiritual position. It's not a material one. Although we do have some in Kenya who are declared elders because they are rich.
Because they are rich and they got a hat put on their head. And
yeah, and then they put a hat on the head and you are given like a shield and a room.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual thing, and it's that's, and you see this country is so against that spiritual grounding that we keep trying to draw elders into this crass primitive politics. You keep, when elections come around or reach, you see them trying to drag Kaya elders into this nonsense. You hear Judy Cheke is being dragged into this nonsense. You hear Kikuyu elders are being dragged into this nonsense. Luo Council of Elders being dragged into this nonsense. As in, our state abhors the existence of the spiritual realm.
Yes. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. Yeah. So they have to keep dragging down the elders into the material.
Yeah.
So that they never graduate beyond there.
Yeah, the Luo Council of Elders chose a leader, and they have to invite Raila Odinga to come to that ceremony to install him. Why do you have to do that? He can come, but he can come and sit there as one of the guests. But why must he be involved? And you go around everywhere, and it's this thing of ethnic spokesmen as well. They're all ethnic spokesmen in government. Why isn't there just an ethnic spokesman if they have to have a spokesman that's just out there? But it has to be someone in government. The government is fighting the spiritual and theoretical realm day and night.
Very viciously. Very viciously.
Yeah.
They're unrelenting on that front. Unrelenting.
Yeah. And it's an imperialist thing, because even that's the only part of Africa that scared the colonizers. There's these oaths they are taking. There's some forest there where they go, and then they pray, and then we don't know what they've been talking about, and they come back and they are looking very calm and relaxed. and they're not looking stressed. We are starving them and they're just looking chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Haiti. Yeah. Even Haiti, that's why they make so much noise about the Boacaimo.
Yeah. That's why the government even today still hates pastoralism.
Yeah.
Because pastoralists, these guys are out there. They live in areas that look like very bad and harsh climates to live in. But they're just out there. They're not asking us for anything. They're not asking us for permission. They're just going about their thing. They don't want anything they're not begging us for anything. No system can stand that. So we need to take these lands away from them, turn them into conservancies. We have to there was even a project like if you wanted to start creating beef feedlots.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. Expressly to end pastoralism in Laikipia. That was the purpose. And banks even funded it.
What?
KCB gave some money towards it. Other donors gave money.
Yeah, they can't let us be. They can't.
No, they can't let us be. They can't let us be.
And then now our political class has that disease, eh?
Yes. No, our political class are imperial, completely. Even in school, they can't put all the choices there. Let a kid decide, I want to do physics, combination of physics and history and political science.
Yeah, why not?
I want to do biology and literature and fine art.
Yes.
But they are getting to a point that they're making silos in schools. Actually, there will be a school that has no fine art. There will be a school that has no physics. There will be a school that has no sport science. So if your kid is in that school, Kwisha, that ambition is dead. So a kid who, I mean, and look at some of our sporting icons. Dr. Joe Masiga, one of our top dentists in this country, was the top striker, number 9, Harambee Stars and AFC Leopards. Under CBC, such can't happen.
It's not even can't, it must not
Dr.
happen.
Dr. Dan Shikanda, who's now the chairman of AFC, top winger for Gor Mahia and both Gor and AFC Leopards. Dr. Enoch Obwaka, was it William Obwaka some years ago? Top medic, played for Gor. These things can't happen.
And then, you're just seeing at one of, I think it was the gold medalist for, was it the 200, who is an engineering student. I'm like,
yes. Engineering students.
Why can't we be allowed that? Why must we have a school separate?
As we are making sports excellence and arts excellence and science excellence mutually exclusive. Either or.
That idea, do you know when I had, because somebody was telling me how JSS is, after JSS, hey, this thing is so bad. What they're doing with JSS, they are not teaching. They are not going to teach. Those kids for 3 years are not going to learn.
Yeah.
Then, based on those meeting expectations nonsense,
cooked up things,
the government is going to decide who is talented for what.
And place him in that school or her in that school.
Place him in that school. What is even interesting is that there's a guy who was saying on TV, I don't know whether that's the plan, but it sounds like, because he's close to government, sounds like that's the plan. All the well-equipped schools will be STEM schools. And then the non-equipped will be the arts and talent. And I said that would happen. I said it in 2017.
But you see, destroying an entire generation.
So basically, they want sports people who don't and have no careers, no intellectual life. What is that?
And will not know what to do after age 40. Will not be able to become mentors or whatever after age 40.
Or political leaders, or
political leaders,
the lights of Kenya. These
people, or writers or journalists.
Yes. Actually, by now, many of those sports people should be the ones reporting sports, should be the ones teaching sports. Even history departments should be having those people teaching sports history.
Can you name one single sporting icon in Kenya who has a biography? Hata ile mbaya written.
Yeah.
Not one.
It's just
politicians. Not one. In fact, if someone sort of landed from Mars or somewhere in Kenya today, they wouldn't know. They would think we've only won these 4 gold medals. If they landed in Kenya this year, they think we've only won these 4 gold medals in Olympics.
I mean, we should.
Others have lived their whole lives and died without a word written about them. We don't know them. Yet acres of newsprint are written about even how Kenyatta was even painting houses in England. Yeah. Personally, I don't care what he was doing in England. But we have nothing written about what Ben Gipcho did in 1976 Olympics, or what Naftali Temu did in 1962, or those things. These guys are, and they're dying. They're dying. Gipto died recently. These people are dying with their stories. These people are leaving us.
No, this
even Kiptum, his short story, he died with it and went.
I mean, even when you think of it, these are the people our movies should be about.
Yeah, yeah.
Our plays.
Yes, yes.
Our storybooks for children.
The movies about Kenya are about elephants. And lions. In fact, you see even people online talking about nobody, and even Kenyans are starting to take this thing up. You went to Masai Mara, you're not saying, oh, I saw this wonderful leopard. You're even calling it by name. I saw whatever the name of that leopard. Okay. Those stories, they're getting lost. They're getting lost.
There was a counter argument that, oh no, we have the Boits, the Rengs, the what, so it's not that bad. There are sports people who have...
Reng only excelled because of the opportunity he got in the United States. He wouldn't get that opportunity here. Boit was in Kenyatta University and picked it up, but that program did get support, and it fizzled out. It fizzled out, and we failed to involve. We failed to involve there's so many other sports people, and you look at like the late Professor Eshiwani was VC Vice Chancellor at Kenyatta University some years ago. He had this tendency to bring in these people. And I remember, because when I was doing my master's, we'd always go to Performing Arts Center, and you'd find some famous musician. You'd find Daudi Kabaka there playing and instructing the students, talking to them about performance. You'd see the late Kamaru, even Zenze, you'd see them every now and again there. And there was you'd pass by Performing Arts Center, and you'd always hear music, pop in, see who it is playing, and that kind of thing. And that gave rise to a lot of thespians from KU. Even this the ridiculous group who have now lined into mediocre politicians came out of that came out of that era. That's what happened. You never know how and when people will be even that group, the first sort of pioneer rap group in Kenya, Kala Mashaka, those were KU students. They were KU students at that time. And we would see them doing their little performances at the shopping center there. And this inspires people. But right now, we are trying to lock brains into these strange things we are calling pathways. And they are dead-end pathways.
And then...
I'm sorry to say that they are dead ends.
They are dead ends. And then there's this insidious thing called quality and world standards. So that
international
means you can't
standards.
invite these Kenyans, you can't invite them to, because they should be teaching like a unit. Yeah?
Yes.
They should. But you're told, no, they must have a master's, they must have they taught elsewhere? So you can't even invite them.
Yeah.
I think maybe what has happened with education is that the people who enter that system, that space, they feel I've arrived, I must protect this space. Who are you?
Yes, now you instead of
ran and won a medal. Have you written a paper on the theory of nonsense?
Yeah.
Who are you to tell us anything?
Exactly. And that's why, look at the top. You wonder why someone like Dr. John Kaminwa, I don't know, have they ever invited him to lecture at the School of Law?
Actually, by now he should have a chair of sorts.
Yes, yes, an honorary chair there. Please give us a lecture once a month. If you're teaching sports science, can you imagine what it would do to that class if you now invited Faith Kipyegon to give a lecture? How she trains, even those simple things, what she eats, what time she wakes up, how she copes with the pressure of this, that, the other.
Yeah.
How did she feel when that medal was withdrawn first? How did she deal psychology? Things like that. That's sports science.
You want papers. People want papers.
International standards is the reason why we fenced. Is why we fenced Uhuru Park to make it international standards.
Oh,
that's why I was telling
the idea.
That was the idea. That's why I tell people, like, there is no sight in Kenya, in Nairobi, more pleasing to my eyes than that burnt wreck of a plane.
Even me, I was really happy to see.
I love it. Every time I walk there, I pass by there, I look at it and I appreciate it. And that's why we have all these extraordinarily gifted people in this country, but they cannot find a way. They cannot find a way into any of our systems. Our systems are built to keep them out expressly. We do not want them.
We don't want them. And if they come in, they must be mediocre like the rest of us.
Yes, yes. They must embrace mediocrity to come in. And that's why you see people walking around, so many Kenyans, and talking about those who have PhDs. I know so many Kenyans with PhDs, but you can listen to them for 5 years, and at no point will you ever get any idea of what he or she studied. They never talk about it. I mean, our president has a PhD in wetlands ecology. I've listened even to environmental forums. I've never heard him say, like, wetlands, I've never heard that. Even at environmental conferences, which he has attended many. And that's where we put ourselves as a country.
We're not allowed to think. If you start saying
no
things, people will say, you think you know everything. That's how.
Yeah. No, in fact, the word, the term they use, they, like, many times, people suggest things to tell me things in my area of expertise, and I tell them no. I tell them no. That's and especially the ignorant are very aggressive, and I tell them no. And people say, "Hey, you think you are the only one who has gone to school?"
No, we did the work.
No, I did the work. And I'm telling you what it is. So if at all you have a problem with what I said, with the content of what I said, as in you dispute my position, come with a counter argument. But they expect you just to let it slide. If something's wrong, you don't say it, because if you say it, you are the one creating a problem.
You're condemning me. In fact, these days I just keep quiet. I see. I just say, now it's okay.
You are judging.
You're condemning. You're not appreciating the work that other people have done.
There's two sides to every story. No.
There's two sides. Even I did. Then I just say, you know what? Leave it alone. Me, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I've told you that's my position, and you can accept it. And again, it's also, you also see that problem in people's need for acceptance. I mean, when I know something to be so, it doesn't matter to me whether or not someone accepts what I'm saying. I'll just say it because that's what it is. So if you don't like it, that's okay. If you don't accept it, that's okay. If you don't believe it, that's okay. But that's what it is. That's what it is. And until and unless I find out something different, that's my position. But you have these degrees and papers are used the way that rungu is used by a watchman at a gate. When someone comes, keep out. Keep out. It's like you're given a plot of land, and instead of farming it or using it to produce something, you put a fence around it and stand at the gate and prevent others from getting in. And it's falling into disrepair and getting overgrown.
Now, I don't know what has just clicked. I think, yeah, that's how the education system is. So, and especially if you're a person who entered like this is the only thing you have. Now, when somebody comes and you're saying, we want her to come because she has achieved great things in sports. We want him to come because he has achieved great things in. That's what annoys people of the system. They're like, who are you? How do you have something else that I don't have? So we use the education to beat them out.
Yes. And you see now if you look at our universities, they have become like compounds or like farms with a fence and 1,000 watchmen, but no farmer. Thoroughly protected, but produces nothing. Produces nothing. Someone comes to that gate with a djembe in his hand and seeds to plant something in there. Who are you?
Oh, who are you?
These rungus are used to beat you thoroughly and chase you away. Who are you? We are watchmen here.
Oh.
It's a thoroughly protected, empty space full of weeds, overgrown.
That is true. Hey.
So, and if you don't let in any new ideas, I don't know where growth. Where will growth come from?
I don't know.
Where do they expect growth to come from?
See, now from you go to the commission and get the next level, the list of standards. So you
that's why University of Nairobi, their idea of growth is this Vakoyen wanting to start a school of AI.
Yeah.
In fact, offering masters. I wanted to ask, are those masters going to be written with ChatGPT or will they demand original work?
That's a good point. By the
in
way,
the school of AI, you will want me to write an original. That means I've learned nothing. I should be, by the time I finish, I should have learned how to
plagiarize.
To cook a masters with AI.
Hey, this level of gaslighting is so
yeah.
And what's the link to this funding thing? Okay.
The funding system, first of all, apart from the nasty details of it, first of all, there is no money. The government of Kenya that I know and that we have discussed has no interest in educating the population. So of all its priorities, funding your education or mine will be zero.
Yeah.
They'll spend money on anything, but not education. They don't want to educate us. So these bans and all that, it's an imperialist idea of creating hierarchies. So to get good funding, I have to go there and prostrate myself and declare myself a slave, or the children of slaves who have nothing and who is not a threat to you. Then you will fund me. So in a way, even if I perform well, but my parents do their efforts or whatever, are at a certain economic strata as by your assessment, you will not fund me. When there was genuine university funding, the one which IMF killed in the 90s.
Yeah, in the 90s.
The child of a billionaire and the child of a village pauper got the same amount of funding, just based on they qualified for university.
And in fact,
billionaires' children got funding.
Yes, and there's an equality. The equality there is not of the funds. It's saying, I'm treating you, all of you, the same way.
Yes. You, son of billionaire X, you got grade A. You, son of villager X, you got grade A. We are now treating you both as A students. You are getting the same funding, sitting in the same class, doing the same exams.
Whether one will send his money home or the other
one just goes and drinks, whether the other one is paying. In fact, some used to even pay fees for younger siblings using this boom money.
Yeah, yeah.
Those
That's
from
now
poor,
up to you.
That's now up to you. Yeah. As we are giving you the money, here's your monthly. What you do with it is not our business. I mean, government is going around to see what my parents, some of these kids are orphans. Some of them, even the high school, they were sponsored by well-wishers. So the government is going to go around trying to decide this is the child of a pauper. So, I mean, how can you burden a child with proving poverty?
That's humiliating, eh?
It's exactly.
Oh.
Then you want me to prove poverty. It's not enough for me to be poor. I have to show you evidence of my poverty. And even bribe the chief to come and visit my home and declare my folks poor.
That is so humiliating. What?
See, that's a violation. It's defiling people.
It's defiling somebody. It's like saying, how dare you get good points? How dare you even think of going to the university? Who do you think you are?
Who as you are? Maskini, unataka kwenda university?
He had not seen that. These guys are good at torture, eh? The government.
No, these are abusive people.
They are so
abusive. These are abusive.
Because, you know, even if the chief was to say, okay, Sawa, you shall go, I'll sign your papers, you've already been belittled even before you've reached the door of the university.
You have been belittled.
Okay.
You have been belittled, and you have and you've been abused, and you are in tier. You know, you've declared yourself. It's almost like, you see the caste system in India. You've already declared yourself low caste, for lack of a different term.
And
in order to get
to see you like that, they'll treat you like that the whole time.
Yes.
So if you have any problem with your funding, when you go to a government office to sort it out, then now the civil servant doesn't see the point of serving you. They tell you wait until tomorrow.
Hawa watoto wa maskini pia wanasumbua hapa kwa ofisi.
So bad. I mean, these guys have no soul.
They have a hollow space where the soul is supposed to be.
And
terrible, terrible people.
Hey. And they justify it.
Just fund the students. Where I come from, which school I went to, and even the parliamentary hearing, there was an official saying that we will judge this thing based on the schools these kids went to. And you imagine if you are from a poor home and you worked hard, and your parents sacrificed.
The village raised money for you to go to that high
school. And then you went to Alliance. You get to university, now you are being punished for going to Alliance.
Yeah, you're being told you should have stayed in your station. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. Who are you to try and jump out of poverty? We will not fund you we will not give you the top scholarship because you went to Alliance. Because you worked hard, burnt the midnight oil, your father sold these 2 cows, the village raised money, and they took you to Alliance. They punish you thoroughly for that.
It's a deeply feudal and racist system, eh?
It is imperialism in its purest form. feudal, cruel, violent, and hierarchical. We have to have hierarchies everywhere. The university is the one place where there was no hierarchy.
Yes.
It was, I mean, you go to University of, I mean, even in high school, there was hierarchy. You see, oh, there's a national school there, or that is Alliance, that's Nairobi school, then there's hierarchy. University, once we enter University of Nairobi, we are University of Nairobi students. Those hierarchies get lost. Now, this is an effort to extend that hierarchy.
And now they're also continuing it with CBC. And you see, yes. I don't know, it's like, especially middle-class Kenyans, they really love these hierarchies.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, and they can never, that's why middle-class Kenyans can never point fingers or fault the upper class, because that's what they're aspiring to. If I can get there, I'll also oppress people. So I won't complain about the oppression. It's like what happens like in the ranked forces, like the military. You don't, the captain does not complain about what the major does to him, because he's aspiring to be a major, so he can also finger the captains.
That's a deeply spiritual problem.
We have a deep, it's a spiritual problem.
Yeah.
And especially when we get into education, we are normalizing it. It is normal to create tiers, economic tiers. When tiagani.
And we have a deep hatred for dignity of people. We don't want people to have dignity.
No, we don't. And even those of us who have less dignity, we instead of trying to fight to get more dignity, we use our small dignity to oppress those who have even less than us.
That's what I find interesting about Kenya. It's like we really don't like the people. We really mistreat the people below us.
Oh yeah, it was like in the bad old days when bullying was rife in these national schools. You'd suffer in Form 1, and the Form 1 ends January term in Form 2. It's the relief with the Form 2 that now we've got some smaller kids we can beat. We now also have someone to beat, to bully. And they all take it out, and that's how it perpetuates itself. It's how it perpetuates itself. Yeah, rather than protest against oppression, we seek to justify it in different ways. And I just saw an article. I mean, someone posted something online. It was an article saying Real Madrid Football Club said they will walk off the field anytime this season if this Brazilian player Vinicius Jr., if he gets racially abused. And I looked at the comment from Kenyans. Does this guy think he's the only? Who does this guy think he is? Does he think he's the only black in playing in La Liga? And those are Kenyans, black Kenyans.
Instead of celebrating.
Yes, yes. And Spanish society is notoriously racist.
Yeah.
What Lewis Hamilton went through there when he first defeated Fernando Alonso in the Spanish Grand Prix, horrible racist abuse. All these players go through it. And when someone stands up for it, suddenly people go, who do you think you are? It's like, and I commented there, and I actually compared it to my experience in conservation here. When I protest against racism in conservation, the people who come out to fight me are black Kenyans. Who do you think you are?
What is that? But maybe
we love him.
Think racism applies to us, I think.
No, we actually, like, you can't, you you shouldn't protest against that. Who do you think you are? In fact, some even admit that it exists, but do you think you are the first to see it? But why are you complaining? Some will even admit, yes, there's racism, but why are you complaining? So you have your salary.
Eh? What?
We are so imperialist at heart that we actually accept and normalize and even support oppression.
Oh, okay, I get that this system must stay. Why are you doing why are you dismantling
disrupting it?
Why are you disrupting it?
Yeah, why are you disrupting it? This system is here, and we have someone in his mind, he says, I have a plan how to climb to the top of that system.
Oh.
So you are, by disrupting it, you are interfering with plans.
Oh.
Unakasirisha wazungu na tunataka wakuja watupatie pesa. What's wrong with you?
How can you help somebody like that?
I don't know. It's one of the questions I really struggle with. That's why we, even if using example of the tourism sector, that's why Kenya is still one of the top sort of sex tourism destinations in the world. Rampant exploitation of children in this sex tourism trade, and we don't do anything about it because we want the foreign exchange. If you start cracking down on it, suddenly you'll have a bunch of tourists in the cells. And no, we can't have that. And it's gotten so accepted that the largest number of perpetrators, or a significant proportion of perpetrators, are actually local Kenyans who bunch up into groups in December, and we are going with this chama or boys club. We are going for a week at the coast.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about them trading. They are customers. They are the ones. They are perpetrators.
Many upcountry men are perpetrators.
No, I can't.
And see, these spiritual problems, it pervades at instead of stopping this thing, let's also look for money, and we also partake of it.
I can't. No, that level of inhumanity, I don't know how to. I don't know. I can't. Oh dear. You know, even the way the government has been rattled by Moraras, whatever. I've noticed that the government really, there's one thing they never compromise on. It's not even security, it's the stories.
Yes.
They will fight tooth and nail to control the story.
That's why they hire all the communications people now from media.
Yeah.
So those people, like, saying, are the ones who would tell you, don't invite so and so to the press conference, or bring something. That's the one who can bribe. They offer phone numbers of editors to be called to pull down certain stories, etc. It's all about the story, and the people who really, it's even been perfected by corporations. Corporations, there are corporations you complain about them, it won't see the light of day, because there are people, and Kenya Airways is one of those. You have problems with them, they have got online armies of people who will come and attack you, like, why are you saying this? And you've lost your bag. What? Your bag is damaged. People will come and attack
for
you.
That.
Yes.
They have money. But the thing is, losing money.
But it's cheaper. It's cheaper to manipulate narratives than to do, or it's easier to manipulate narratives than to do your job properly. It doesn't bring long-term gains, but it's cheaper. It's just like what we said with the unions. It's easier to bribe union members than raise workers' salaries. And Kenyans, we love shortcuts.
Yeah, we do.
Our love for shortcuts is the reason why pyramid schemes thrive here. Someone will come today and tell you, give me 1 million and I'll return it to you with 20% interest in 1 month. And you don't even ask, what business, what are you doing with my 1 million to bring 20%? They'll run to his mother and say, that saving of yours, it will bring 1 million. His mom or his sister or his own savings, which was saving for his child's university education or something. That's because of that spiritual problem, our love for shortcuts. That's why these investment schemes, pyramid schemes, they all thrive so much here.
Because the story matters more than the reality.
Story matters more. That's why even carbon trading thrives here. Because carbon trading is just a story. It's bullshit. It doesn't exist. It's just a story. But even our cabinet has adopted it in policy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing. People keep asking, but explain, is there some good activity? It is nothing. It's just a pyramid scheme, a more complex one attached to an environmental story. Hey, but people, because we love shortcuts.
Yeah.
If you took 1 million shillings and even went and decided to buy a piece of land and buy 200 goats and employ a caretaker, in a year you'll have 400 goats and you'll sell them and make money. But someone coming to, but you see, that's work. That's intellectual work. Kenyans don't want to work. Someone, especially well-dressed person, well-spoken, tells you bring and driving an expensive car tells you bring your 1 million and I'll return to you 20% interest after 2 months. You give him without a question. Did he tell you what business is doing? No.
Yeah.
We call it working smart. You've heard Kenyans say, don't work hard, work smart. Don't do the work, look for a shortcut. That's what it means.
So what is the spiritual work that needs to be done? I'm not saying Kenyans will do it, but what is that work that needs to be done to heal this hole in our soul?
We must within ourselves, not answer to anybody. We must answer to ourselves. If I buy even the simplest things, even if I buy a pair of jeans, I need to know within myself why I bought that pair of jeans, because I need another pair of jeans, because it's a nice color, it fits me well, and those kind of things. We don't, rather than I just saw it in the window and it's the one I saw advertised on TV last night. May or may not suit you. And you a farmer planting whatever crop, you need to understand this is why I'm growing cabbage, because it takes less of my land to do this. It produces this much. I can sell to so and so. He comes and picks them up and he gives me fair price, and it is not a harmful thing. So if we thought like that, you wouldn't have farmers growing. Why growing tobacco on land that can produce food?
That question you're saying we should ask, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
We are not allowed.
No, we are not allowed.
We are not allowed. Somebody will gaslight you somewhere. They'll say, okay, so what do you want? Or
because
what's the solution?
If you look at even those farmers who are protesting in Karatina.
Yeah.
Mathira is one of the most fertile and high rainfall areas of Kenya.
Yeah.
You can grow, I can't think of any crop which can't grow there. Why are you growing coffee?
It's because, see, the first people who
because your father was growing it, your grandfather was growing it, your neighbor is growing it, and the DP says he's looking for markets. That's why you're growing coffee. And the money is not coming. And the tea sector is sort of better thought out. They are paid pittance. Then every year you are paid. You know that boom, that bonus.
Bonus.
They hit you with that bonus. You forget the poverty of the previous 11 months.
It's that powerful. It's like a hit.
Yeah, it's a hit. They hit you with a crazy bonus. And the bonus is not a bonus, actually. It's money which was withheld from your previous 1 year's payments.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not that they dug in their pockets. That money was yours. That money was yours anyway.
That is so cynical.
It's very cynical. But that keeps you in teeth. It keeps you laboring for 11 months. Then they hit you with that bonus. Pop! And they give it to you in cash. You know, that's why we see those lines outside banks. They hit you with cash. You forget that your kid has been walking barefoot all year. You can't afford shoes.
Despaired. I don't know.
So Kenyans have to think about what they're doing and why. Because
Ogada, that's what I'm telling you. Even to reach there, you have to drag Kenyans kicking and screaming.
You have to drag Kenyans kicking and screaming. I mean, because there's a very common question in Kenya, like, what should I do? Or what do you want me to do? Why do you care what Mordecai wants you to do? What do you want to do? What do you need to do? What do you think you should do? I know what I'm doing and why I do everything. I know everything, why I'm doing everything. Even every single tree I planted, I know why I planted that tree, that species on that spot. And you know, it's like it's a state of being, knowing why you are doing what you are doing.
You'll be surprised. Like in my classes, my students say what they dream of. You know, somebody. In fact, the conversation starts where they are saying, "What do you think I should do if this?" Like one student, I asked her. She told me, "Oh, she doesn't." I asked her, "So why are you here?" She said she doesn't know. So I asked her, "But what would you like?" She hadn't thought about it.
Yeah. And you see, that takes us back to the what you were saying about theory. When someone tells you, like, they know what you're doing, those sort of things are just happening to that student. Things are just happening. Just coming to class, then Professor Wandia is coming, then she's telling us this, then we go home. Things are just happening. She doesn't have a question for Professor Wandia. She's just there. Professor Wandia says this, she writes, she goes home. You ask her, like, why are you here?
What's your story? What do you want?
Here is where people come in the morning. What's your story? What do you want? So whatever she'll get that's what will happen to her. It's not what she will look for. It's what will happen. If it's something good, it will be that the so-called kuangukia. Okay, I didn't want it, but it's good, so fine, I'll live with it, you know. We don't always get what we want, but there is what we want.
Hey, I tell you, I was quite shocked.
And it comes from childhood. It comes from childhood. You know, when a kid is saying, like, if I was the king, I'd eat all the ice creams. No, that kid is learning to theorize. He'll probably never be king.
Yes. Yeah. That's it.
And then when a kid says, when I grow up, I'll buy a candy, it has to be red because I love red.
Yes.
They're killing that. They're killing that because that happens in the arts space and humanities space. Yeah. So you end up with that, as you said, like now, even if you ask someone, what do you think should be done? He has no idea. He has no idea. Because they never theorize.
The thing I've started noticing is that students get annoyed when I insist they
it's very stressful because there's no fixed answer that will get him or her the top marks. And you have to think of something. And you can spend an hour getting into ChatGPT to get a 2-page thing instead of spending 5 minutes to write one paragraph.
But then that's what's happening. That's what's happening. I tell people, write a paragraph, I get a 10-page paper from ChatGPT.
Yeah, maybe even with references.
It's actually happening.
With references.
With references. And you just said, write me a paragraph with your thoughts. That's it.
What do you think about the ABC?
That's it. You get a 10-page paper with references. I tell you.
Then they get stressed because you didn't give them high marks for that.
They get annoyed.
They get annoyed.
They get annoyed. Now, before it was frustration, but now they are starting to get annoyed.
We will grow in spite of the universities.
I think so.
Not because of them. We will grow in spite of the universities.
And now they are shutting the doors, so who knows?
Yeah.
You know how the government likes to shoot itself in the foot. Even this one, they are shooting themselves in the foot.
It's like
to start to get education from elsewhere.
Once the smartphone happened,
that it ended.
Stop trying to control people's minds now that we have smartphones. I'm sorry, just forget it.
Imagine they haven't caught up.
You can tell how many lies. The truth is right here in my hand, and it takes me 2 minutes to find it.
The government hasn't understood that. Imagine they've not understood. I noticed that. Even
and that's the thing. There are people in government, but in Kenya we behave like government is a being with a brain. Government doesn't have a brain.
Doesn't.
So if you start saying that government says this, government says that, that immediately is a red flag that indicates someone is not thinking.
Yeah.
Wandi has a brain, Mordecai has a brain, individuals have brains, but government doesn't have a brain. That's why things are catching them off guard.
Yeah, I noticed that. I think they haven't adjusted to the internet. They thought internet is only for them to digitize, the way they like saying. But they actually don't expect people to know stuff. It's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre.
It's been 20 years.
I mean, look at them now. I mean, it is governments, especially African governments, have been notorious in controlling internet pathways or how you get. As in, there's a place it can be shut off. And now look at the same people who are interested in controlling information flow are the ones happily licensing Starlink. Koja wone. During the Gen Z protests, they were even playing around with the internet. Sometimes it was very slow. Starlink, you are the ones licensing Starlink.
Yeah, we are run by a system that is stuck in the colonial era, completely stuck.
And struggling.
And struggling.
Struggling with modern. They struggle even to understand the Constitution, which is now 14 years old.
That's still.
If they struggle with it. Every other day, top government people are doing something, then court is saying unconstitutional. Yeah, when you guys have never read this thing.
Yeah, they probably haven't.
You have an attorney general there.
I don't think they read anything outside government.
Yet
reading memos and
they just read only the circulars.
And circulars. I don't think they read anything outside.
There's an attorney general's office, but if you look at the actions of Kenya government, it does not betray any presence of legal advice.
Yeah, I don't think they read.
You see them doing this,
Even
declared
if they
legal.
go, and by the way, many of them are doing masters, PhD, but
Eh,
I think they get it.
Yeah.
It's like a spiritual lock.
Yeah. It's confusion. You know, like even an individual, those first few moments after you wake up, there's confusion where you even wonder, where is this? What day is it? That's on a national scale, that's where we are. But it's a prelude to waking up. I'm encouraged that it's the opening of eyes. We've been asleep for too long.
I hope you're right. I really hope you're right.
I just hope it's an awakening. I just hope it's not too rude and shocking as an awakening, but it's an awakening either. Yeah, it's things are not going to be the same again as they were 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
even last year.
Definitely.
How we adjust to that, that's what will make the difference in our different faiths.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, welcome.